Howdy folks, Peter here with episode 6 of Great Ideas with Great Minds. And today we're going to be talking about emotional polarization, or the invention of it. And if you're thinking, wait, is this about to get political? No, it's not. Because emotional polarization is the exact opposite of what you'd expect. Because if you're thinking political polarization, I guess a little bit ugly between people, but this is not between people, it's between you and yourself. And so, that makes it a little bit easier to deal with. Because for emotional polarization, we're going to be looking at the idea of you can possibly create how you feel. Now, this is not going into some hippy-dippy thing about you make yourself happy. Because life is not all about being happy. And actually, it is a pure pursuit of happiness that can actually be harmful in itself. Speaking from experience on that one. Because it's the highs and the lows and dealing with those that creates your middle. And your middle is your sweet spot, ironically. Just in polarization, how you're trying to get a middle if you're looking at politics. And so for emotions, getting to that middle, what you call contentment, and inventing that for yourself is what will give you the best chance of stability and working with everything else. Because it's a false perception that you should always be happy and be on your high end. If you're always on your high end, well, it's hard to get there because sometimes you have a really great day and things come up, but other times you have your low end. And if you want to be on the high end, but you're on the low end, a frustration builds. And that can have some pretty bad emotional effects if you use means that are unhealthy to get there. For example, if you're on the low end, and you want to be on the high end, maybe you go break open the good old six-pack, or go buy a lottery ticket, or maybe go to a certain site, or clock in a few hours on whatever console you're on, or pick your poison. All those things that supposedly make you happy to take you from the low point, but they don't actually work. Because that's just procrastination on dealing with a problem. And escapism can't be escaped. You can try to run from something, but you can't hide. Because guess what? You're running from yourself. And you might be good at running from yourself, but since it is yourself, I hope it's not surprising that you'll eventually be found by yourself. And so, this is a good comparison if you have any nautical lore. Is it healthier for your boat when you're about to hit a wave to hit it head on, or to try to turn and run from it? Well, now that I give you a second to answer in your head, if you said head on, you are correct. And why is that? Well, it's because boats are meant to break through the waves. Unless you have a super wave. In that case, you're just kind of screwed. But that's beside the point. But when you turn, it allows you to not be able to brake, and that's so you can roll over. And rolling over in a storm is pretty bad. So, if your emotions are the storm, and you're getting bombarded with waves, or buffered, if you prefer to call it that, your first instinct might be to run and turn. And turning might feel good, but you can only turn so long. Maybe you don't capsize right away, but you're going to capsize. Because eventually you're not going to be able to escape what you're feeling, the discomfort. You're going to tip over. Or, and it's never too late, thank goodness, because this is not a boat, this is your life. You can still hit it head on. And you can actually break through without getting swamped and capsizing. It might be scary as hell, but you can make it through. When you're feeling depression, when you're feeling anger, when you're feeling loneliness, despair, grief, all these things that make life supposedly seem really low and you don't want to have in your life, You can get through it. And so, this is inventing your middle. And this is the thing that you're not going to be able to sell, but it's going to save you a lot of money on therapy. It's going to save you a lot of, well, wasted time and money, hopefully. Because if you can make yourself to your middle and not chase your high and escape your low, you can just be. And that is a crazy good thing to have. And so some people choose meditation. Some people choose some scheduling, some healthy living, some therapy, some productive groups, some ways to cope with some healthy habits. Whatever it takes to hit your middle. And that means when you're on your low, being able to write it out. Because although it might not feel like it, when despair and the loss of hope and all these other fears, anxiety, stressors come, they do pass. And they can pass a lot faster if you just experience them and get through them. And so, that puts you back at your middle. And believe it or not, it's a lot easier to hit the middle than to hit the other end. Because if you're at your low, and then you try to jump all the way from your low to your high point, that's a lot of effort. So whether that means having to work yourself raw, working out to forget, or having to maybe invite every single friend over for some grand party, or having to spend all day on a binge watching session of Netflix, that's either a lot of money, a lot of time, or even maybe more anxiety and stress. Because the weird thing is, if you keep on chasing it, you're going to find it's a little bit exhausting. But if you stop and let yourself shoot to the middle a bit, and not sway, and not try to go so far away, it can be okay. And so, I challenge you, as a fellow human being, to make your best middle. To find your way through emotional polarization. To stop running yourself ragged from your highs and your lows. And let it be. Because you'll find that when you actually have your natural high of something happening, you didn't have to work as hard for it. And it just came. And that might fade, and that might be a little bit scary, but you'll drift back to the middle again. And that's not necessarily low. And just so your worst day comes, you can drift back to the middle again. And that's something really cool. And so do some practice on that. Give yourself a break. Don't let yourself be so down about it when you're having a bad day. That's just natural. Talk to someone. Ask yourself why you're doing something. And most importantly, don't listen to some guy without a PhD. If you really need help, talk to a doctor or go to the crisis hotline or anything else like that. Because there are people out there who specialize in helping with emotional times and stressors. And when it comes down to it, you need to be able to have the courage to get help. Because you can get better. But it's not always an easy process. And so, I'm excited for you to see how you can deal with your own emotional polarization and working on that middle. Best of luck, because it's a long and lifetime goal, and you can't sell it, you can't make a buck off of it, and it's gonna always be a work in progress, but it's gonna keep you busy, and it's gonna be one heck of a ride. So enjoy it. It's the only one you got. I look forward to bringing you a solid invention next week, one that's not going to involve any of your mental capacity or feel like you're in an armchair. So, looking forward to that. Until then, have a great day. Best of luck on the work week. See you all later. Bless.